up, guys? In this video I'm going to teach you how to play Kip Moore's song More Girls Like You. It's in drop D tuning, so tuning goes D, A, D, G, B, E. So go ahead and get your guitar tuned before getting started. Now this song is really repetitive. This part that I just played is played through a majority of the song, and it doesn't really stop or take any breaks. So I'm going to show you how to play that part first, and then I'll show you the differences later on. This is going to be played through the first verse and the interludes and chorus, as well as the intro, of course. So what you want to do is set your middle finger on the second fret of the G string. The rest are going to be open. You're going to pluck E, D, G, B. What you're going to do is put your ring finger on the third fret of the low E string, and you're going to pluck and slide up to the fourth fret of the E string, and then move your index finger to the second fret of the G string in place of your middle finger where it was before. So you're going to pick the same strings, E, D, G, B. So from the first chord to the second, here, you're going to pluck the fourth fret of the low E string again, but you slide up to the fifth fret of the low E string. And then pluck D, G, B is open. So first three chords. The last one sounds like this. And that slide that I'm doing is played pretty quickly, so sometimes it's almost inaudible, but it's still there. And what I'm doing is I'm plucking the open A string, and I have my middle finger on the second fret of the D string. When I pluck the open A, I'm going to pluck the D string and slide up to the fourth fret from the second with my middle finger. Then I'm going to pluck the open G and put my index finger on the third fret of the B string, and then pluck that. Like I said, it's really fast. So all of those together. And then regular speed. It's really quick and it doesn't stop. So once you learn that part, you know a majority of this song. So I'm going to play the verse until the next part that I'm going to show you. I've been living like a wild old Mustang out in Montana fields. Might have earned me a bad reputation, but never stop these wheels. So there's the change. So when he says, but never stop these wheels, you end on that slide, the last chord that you do with the slide from the second to the fourth fret of the D string. And what you're going to do is put your ring finger on the fifth fret of the low E string, and you're going to pluck E, D, G, third fret B, and let that note ring out a little bit longer than the others. Back to G, and then back to D. So from the last two chords to what I just showed you. And then you're going to do a similar slide. What I mean is put your middle finger on the second fret of the D string. You're going to play the open A, second fret D, and when you pluck the D note, slide up to the fourth fret. So, and then put your index finger again on the third fret of the B string, and you're just going to pluck that. So from that last chord to this one. And then from here, you're going to move back to the second fret of the D string, and then you're going to put your middle or your ring finger on the second fret of the B string, and you're just going to strum down on that A suspended chord, I believe is what it's called. So parts together. And then you're going to repeat the first progression that I showed you for the second part of the verse. Now I'm going to play the second part of the verse through to the next part you're going to learn. From going and rolling too far, running and gunning a little too hard, so unrein, so untamed, yeah. So it's just that last part. So as you play through that progression, at the end you're going to again put your ring finger on the 5th fret of the low E string, but this time you're going to pluck E, D, G, B, and let the B note ring out. You don't walk back down, and then you're going to go to a regular A major chord, which is the 2nd fret, D, G, and B strings. I like to use my index finger to bar those 3 strings on the 2nd fret, and all you can do is pluck them A, D, G, B, and then mute the strings. So. And then you're going to go into the chorus. So the chorus is going to be played with that same progression that you learned for the intro and the verse. Now, between the first chorus and the second chorus, you can actually alternate with an A suspended 4th chord as your last chord before starting over. So what you've already learned is this. The other way you can play it is like this. So that last chord, all I'm doing is an A suspended 4th chord. I'm barring my 2nd fret of the D, G, and B strings with my index finger, and then I have my ring finger on the 3rd fret of the B string, and you just pluck A, D, G, B. So Kip Moore alternates between those two in the second chorus and the interlude just before the bridge, but you can do whichever one is easier for you. It's still going to sound great. So now that that's out of the way, I'm going to show you the ending of the chorus before he goes back into the interlude. So I'll play the chorus to that part. So God made girls like you, made guys like me. Wanna reach for the brightest star, set it on a ring, put it on your hand, grab a piece of land, raise a few more girls like you. So on that ending where he says, and raise a few, what he's doing is a variation of a B minor 7th chord, I think it is. I use my index finger on the 2nd fret of the A string, D string is open, middle finger's on the 2nd fret of the G string, and I got my pinky on the 3rd fret of the B string. And what you can do is pluck A, D, G, B, and then back to G, and then back to D. And you're letting that B note ring out. Is use your ring finger on the 3rd fret of the low E string, pluck and slide up to the 5th fret, and you're going to pluck D, G, B. So. And then you're going to go back to the A suspended 4th chord and pluck A, D, G, B before going into the next verse, which you already know how to play. So. So that's the ending of the chorus, and the last part you just learned is actually pretty similar to the beginning of the second verse. I'll play it through and then show you. Your soul is pure golden, must have been true love you were grown in. Sent the sun rays to a dark place on the same day you got made. Chorus. So, like I said, the beginning part of the second verse is played similar to the end of the chorus. You use that B minor 7th chord, pluck A, D, G, B, let that ring out for a little bit, then back to G, back to D, and then you're going to do that same slide from the 3rd fret of the low E to the 5th fret, then pluck D, G, B, and then you're going to go to that A suspended 4th chord, A, D, G, B, and then you're going to pluck the low E string open and then mute. The second part, you start out in a similar fashion. What you can do is do that B minor 7th chord, pluck A, D, G, B, let it ring out, back to G, back to D, then you switch to the A suspended 4th chord, A, D, G, B, let it ring out, G, D, and then you do the slide from the 3rd fret to the 5th fret on the low E string, and put your index finger on the 3rd fret of the B string when you do that. So, after you do the slide, pluck D, G, B on the 3rd fret, let it ring out, back to G, back to D, and then you're going to just go to an A major chord and strum down and mute. So 2nd fret, D, G, and B, strum down, mute. So the second part. And then you go back into the second chorus, which again you can alternate between this and this. The last part of the song you need to learn is the bridge, and that's the part that sounds like this. It's been a while since I stopped and prayed, but Lord have mercy, look at her. Sure didn't make no mistake when he put that angel on her. So the only new part you need to learn is up here. I use my pinky on the 7th fret of the B string and my ring finger on the 7th fret of the G string. I'm going to pluck an open A, open D, 7th fret G, 7th fret B, let the B note ring out, and then I'm going to strum the open D, 7th fret G, 7th fret B. When he says stopped, I'm going to slide down a whole step to the 5th fret, G and B. I'm going to strum again. When he says and then I'm going to put my index finger on the 3rd fret of the B string and my middle finger on the 4th fret of the G string, and I'm going to strum down one more time when he says prayed. So, it's been a while since I stopped and prayed. And then you go back into what you already learned as far as the intro and chorus. And then when he says, when you put that angel on earth, you're going to go from here to the 5th fret low E, 3rd fret B, pluck E, D, G, B, let the B note ring out, and then you're going to do that slide up that you did at the end of the first, I think, verse. So. That's how you play the bridge. So guys, I hope this all makes sense. I know there are some alterations that might be a little difficult to get used to, but again, you can switch between these, and that's the only real part that changes throughout the song. You don't even have to switch between them if you don't want to. You can just play whichever ones are more comfortable. And all you really need are those transitional chords. But I'll post links to the video I learned from, also the cover if you want to play along with it. That way you can see where I play each of these parts. So I hope you enjoy this lesson. If you do, go ahead and give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already for more videos that I'll be posting in the future. See you in the next one.